Inshallah, Wrath of the Machine is coming back today. Inshallah. I will be ready. Wrath of the Machine coming back today.
All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, Guardians. Welcome. My name is Dylan. I'm going to be your host today.
L-stream already.
And happy 11-year anniversary to
already.
Destiny 1's launch. I wanted to make sure to cover that at the very top because it's kind of mind-melting. 11 years of Destiny. Had no idea we'd be here. Today, we have a ton to talk through, so we're going to rush through this. No, we aren't going to rush. But we have Renegades. We have some really cool stuff to talk about that's going to be coming in December. We have a wonderful update from our development team. We've been listening. We're looking at your feedback, and we actually
We've been
have
listening.
plans that are
He
coming
said the
together right
line.
now to address it.
We've been listening.
Launched. And then we also have, on the second half of the show, we're going to be looking at Ash and Iron. We'll have a bunch of devs on the couch. We're going to talk about the activities, the loot, and potentially a new exotic that you might have been asking about. So, without further ado, Robbie, how you doing? Welcome back to the couch.
Hey, Dylan, it's great to be here. And like you were talking here in the intro, like we've got some really big changes coming based on all the feedback we've been getting from the Edge of Fate that we'll talk about right after we give a little bit of a first look at Renegades here. And that's why we got our laptops, right? There's a lot to get through, and there's a lot to talk about. So we're just got to Dylan and I are making sure we're going to get through it all. So we've been hard at work on collaborating with our friends at
that picture right there. That looks like the fucking
to make something that is like unmistakably Star Wars.
Yeah, no, that is
authentically
right there. That is the Mandalorian blast rifle. That's the fucking lightsaber.
And so today we
this
get
is
to start
the
pulling
Han
back the
Solo
curtain
blaster
on that.
pistol. No, this
And I'm
is
going to
absolutely
embrace my inner
the
Scarrow and
Mandalorian
ask,
rifle.
Robbie, is there a Vidoc?
Yeah, so y'all asked for it. You're going to get it. We're about to play a Vidoc. That is our first look at the Lawless Frontier. You're stepping into a world of criminals, shady deals, with an arsenal at your disposal that you'll only be able to find within a black market here that's emerged within Seoul. And so, yeah, let's take our first look at Renegades.
Seeing how stunningly Star Wars it felt was electric.
I just jumped into that walker and I just annihilated the encounter.
Squeezing that trigger and feeling that blaster just go off, it was like a whole new world opened up for me.
There's something really special here.
That's just
that we haven't done in
Those
Destiny
are just the
before.
Forerunner
That
animations.
ignition, that hiss, that sound.
Oh, it's like that. Okay.
We begin in the shadow of a prophecy that says our end is already written. It's here we draw a line in the sand, where we start the long journey to fight our fate. In Renegades, Guardians infiltrate a criminal underworld to save a friend whose past has caught up with them and disrupt the rise of powerful new enemies. In special collaboration with Lucasfilm Games, we took inspiration from Star Wars to craft a one-of-a-kind Destiny story. Renegades redefines what an expansion can be. It brings the grit, guns, and glory of a space western to Destiny. But Renegades isn't just about power. It's about what you're willing to risk to change the future.
The folks at Lucasfilm were such great collaborators. They understood that in order for this to work, we had to find where the Venn diagram of our two stories meet. Themes of underdogs rising up against something much larger than themselves. Themes of hope. Those little places in that Venn diagram were the ones that really helped us find the story.
What is Dylan doing in the office? He's not a developer.
If you look at Star Wars and you look at Destiny, you can kind of see that parallel that exists. So for instance, our Dredgen, they're our Sith.
Pretty Sithy.
Yeah, and then you've got the Barrett Imperium, and they are very, very Empire-like.
Yes.
They have a huge appetite for expansion.
New Cabal
I
faction.
think of the Praxic Order. They're our Jedi.
So
in this
far,
release,
it's
and
pretty cool.
They are very focused on order and law and understanding that there is a binary in our universe of good and evil. We get to poke at that a little bit in a way that suits our story and our world, while still feeling very much like the inspiration that we're calling from. Edge of Fate leaves us with a really big pass forward into the future. We know of this prophecy now that tells us that we need to bind the Nine or we face extinction. And Drifter was there on Kepler. He saw all of this.
Not running from this one.
Drifter is convinced that there's a connection between the Nine and the rise of this new faction, the Barrent Imperium. He sees them rising at an unnaturally fast rate and is insistent that there's a problem. But the Vanguard isn't listening. They're insisting that he needs to stand down.
The cool thing about this criminal underworld is you and Drifter and your crew, you come in at the bottom, and at the top, there's the Barrent Imperium. You need to work with all these crooked criminal syndicates in between, earning your power, building up the notoriety, getting the gear that you need to take down that powerful Imperium at the top.
There's a weapon that the Barrent Imperium have made, and we need to be the ones to destroy it. And we're not going to be able to do that unless we work with exactly the kind of people that we normally fight. So we're going to head out to the lawless frontier, and one job at a time, we're going to take down the Imperium.
Reddit, thanks for
The lawless
kind of
frontier is
stranger.
filled with
Beating
big,
lay fascism.
chaotic, cooperative activities. You're going to choose the job, you're going to choose which renegade abilities you're going to take into those jobs, and then you're going to drop into the action with your team, smash up those objectives, get as many riches and treasures as you can, and then get out or die trying.
To do that, you're
Like
going
the
to go
extraction.
to the Lost Frontier
That's
holo
nice.
map. You'll see Mars, Europa, and
Never seen
Venus
a,
with
extraction
swamps that
component to
are very
Destiny
reminiscent of
mission
Dagobah.
before outside
There's
of
some
a
hints of
cutscene.
Hoth in Europa, right?
Yeah.
For fans of both Star Wars and Destiny, like Mars, which is some pits that are very reminiscent of Sarlacc pits. When you don't want to fall into them, you'll die.
These are Destiny locations. It's just we're taking inspiration from some of these iconic places in Star Wars.
Let's say we go to Mars, and you're going to pick a bounty hunting job for the Fallen to take out some Cabal. And then you either matchmake with people online, you take your crew with you, you can play solo. Every time you drop in, you might be in a different location on the map. Your objectives are going to be a little different each time, and it also might be a different time of day.
Scout
So there's a lot of
rifle type
variety and richness within these activities, as we want them to be highly replayable. Along the way, we're going to throw a bunch of curveballs.
Tex
You might
Mechanica
run
pulse
into
rifle.
a missile tower that's trying to
They'll
take
take
you
a
out
Tex
from halfway
Mechanica
across the
pulse
map.
rifle.
And you have to like divert and take it out, and you get some extra credits out of that. Defeat your boss, get to the exfil,
Oh yeah,
whatever time
absolutely.
you got left.
That was cool.
Call your ship in.
I like the iron sights
All
on it.
hell drops in on your head from the Cabal.
Kind of like a
Your ship
recharger in the
flies
same way
in,
that
you hop aboard and you got to exfil.
I have no idea, but
Over the
third
course
iteration,
of the
same with
campaign,
the third iteration,
and
is
deep
like a
into the
recharger
post-game of
rifle.
Renegades,
That's
you're
a
going to be
recharger rifle as
unlocking
well.
and earning a bunch of different renegade abilities.
We've got things like airstrikes, Cabal drop pods, vehicles like the Cabal walkers, interceptors, swoop bikes, turrets.
New vehicle? Well, technically a new vehicle
got
that's just
9
a
abilities,
extension
7
of the Heavy
upgrades.
Sparrow, I guess.
There's a ton of stuff that you can bring in and just change how things play.
It's like a tech tree of options.
It's like a whole tree of options across.
Oh,
support,
so this is the red
defensive,
subclass.
and
This is
offensive abilities. So the player's going to have
the
a lot
ancient
to play
Chinese
with.
red subclass.
The Lawless Frontier isn't just about raw power. It's about influence. Shady backroom deals, working for these powerful syndicates and against them at different times. And all of this takes place at the heart of the criminal underworld in Tharsis Outpost.
The Vanguard have been preoccupied. They've been off saving the world, and they haven't been looking at Tharsis. It's changed a lot since the last time we were there.
It's now this thriving black market, this criminal underworld. Tharsis Junction became Tharsis Outpost. If you have an unsavory job that you need done, you can find it at Tharsis Outpost.
Tharsis Outpost feels appropriate for both Star Wars and for us. When we looked at Mos Eisley as inspiration, we knew that we could play in that playground in a really fun way. From the ghosts that you'll see floating around to one Elixni with all 4 of his Elixni arms shaking up drinks. We took that inspiration and we found the Destiny spin on it. Criminal syndicates have moved in.
You're working with the syndicates. You are building your notoriety with them.
The 3 different syndicates that we created, we're going to be dealing with. The Pikers are Elixni. They're kind of like an anarchist biker gang. Unlike other Elixni, they're atheists. They don't worship machines. They follow relics. We've also got the
Hacking
Totality
is
Coalition,
science.
a
The hacking
subset
science
of the
faction.
Barrent
A
Imperium.
bunch of
They're run by
atheists.
Scions.
Thanks for
and
the
their
gold
enforcer,
kind
Rao,
strangers.
is going to be the leader of this group. And we've got Tharsis Reformation. They are a breakaway group from Maya's Vex. They're starting to think for themselves and figure out what it means to be an individual.
They're starting to do crime. They're wearing clothes.
Crime and wearing clothes are what all individuals do. We need to have new people to fight and new people to root for. And this was our opportunity.
But the heart of the Renegade fantasy is not just surviving the lawless frontier. It's garnering influence and building your power so that you can bend it to your will.
In the end game, we get the best weapons, the best armor, the coolest exclusive cosmetics. You're going to need to work with the syndicates to increase your notoriety by completing jobs successfully alone or with a crew, and then doing so you'll unlock our highest risk, highest reward jobs, and at the same time you're going to have the ability to do the special job that'll take you off planet to the dungeon. And you'll also unlock Invasion.
Yes,
That's right.
another
Invasion is back.
Sunder
But
Doctrine.
this doesn't work like
dungeon.
Gambit. It's opt-in. The invader has some initiative when invasion begins. This is more strategic.
You scan the battlefield, and you're like, okay, is this the right time for me to take the shot? And what's the right tool for me to do it? Do I use an airstrike or a vehicle? Do I use a Cabal Walker?
Just watch out for that double cross.
Yeah.
Renegades
So
march the
Gambit is
Guardian's
back
descent
under
into a criminal
different
underworld.
name, I guess. Gambit Elements.
A world of
but no Gambit
shadows
2.
and syndicates, where your light and your choices will cut a path forward. You'll fight dirty, break the rules, and build a hardened crew that can take on any job, standing up to the most ruthless syndicates in the system. Even in the darkest corners of this world, there's still a glimmer of hope. Guardians will have to find their own version of balance between loyalty and survival, between power and purpose. Because there's more at play than credits and contracts. Forces are on the move, ones that see you not just as a player, but as a piece on the
We're
board.
getting real cutscenes again? We're getting real cutscenes again.
To change the future, you'll
think.
have to become the one thing they never saw coming.
Jedi. That's just a character from Marathon.
Start the engines. Take off as soon as you can.
Oh yeah, Praxis order stuff. That's cool. That's cool, I guess. But listen, you know, Bungie always has a good habit of making, I guess,
right,
sexy
welcome back.
trailers. Like you
Sorry,
can't say
I
that their
love
media
Vidocs.
team
I gotta
isn't well
stop looking
produced.
at chat.
So
let's get the show on the road.
they're always good at
So
generating
pre-orders
hype,
for
I
the
guess,
new
you know?
Renegade Standard Edition start right now. And we actually have some added bonuses. Even if you pre-ordered the, what do we got? Year of Prophecy Edition, we have 2 additional cosmetics that are going live today with the patch. The Starside Introduction Emblem and a new exotic ship, which we call the Renegade Leader. You're going to see it on the screen right now, and I'm going to ask a silly question. What are we looking at?
Is it,
I mean,
it's an
I think we're
X-Wing.
kind of looking at something that looks like an X-Wing
Yeah.
here a little
Fuck
bit.
up.
Maybe a little red.
Is this
going
gonna get added to our existing pre-orders
this is one of
for
our
the Destiny
homages,
2
right?
Year
That's-
Prophecy
that's,
Ultimate Edition?
The team had a lot of fun
Or
with. So we wanted to build
is this
like an
an additional
iconic ship,
purchase?
Dylan, that kicked off the road to Renegades here over the next few months. And
We'll
what's cool
see.
about this
We'll
is
see in a
you're
little
actually going
bit.
to see your ship, whatever ship you have equipped, that's going to be flying by when you deploy your Renegade abilities in the Lawless Frontier. And also, you're going to be using your ship to go between different areas within the Plaguelands here in the Reclaim activity that's launching today as well.
Awesome. So with, pre-orders talked about, let's dive into the Vidoc.
there's a lot.
Robbie, where are we starting?
Yeah, so I think it's like probably best. There's so much, like to do a really kind of quick overview of what we looked at here. So Renegades thrust you and your crew into the heart of a lawless frontier that's emerged around Mars, Europa, and Venus, all new locations across those places.
And you're trying to keep up with Drifter, ultimately, who's chasing startling visions of calamity and rumors of a powerful new Cabal faction that's rising, the Baron Imperium. That Imperium's installed themselves as top dog in the criminal underworld, and Drifter's convinced that the Nine is involved with the Imperium's rapid growth. It wouldn't be the first time the Nine have meddled in the background and done some crazy things with Cabal-related enemies. Anyway, so to deal with the Imperium, you're going to take on the role of a renegade as a guardian. You're going to smuggle, sabotage, bounty hunt your way to the top of the lawless frontier, and that means you're going to be working with the shady syndicates to build your influence within Tharsis. But ultimately, like, this is for the right reason. You're being the bad guy to do the right thing because you can't really ignore this prophecy of extinction that showed up at the end of Edge of Fate. Yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned Drifter. We have a pretty stellar cast here, and there was a new character that we showed off in there.
Yeah, we showed one of our new characters. That's a new member of your crew who comes from the Praxis Order, actually. And they've been tasked with tracking down reports of dredging activity across the lawless frontier. And they've also been tasked with keeping an eye on Drifter because he's been seeing and saying some crazy stuff lately. And this is all being done in defiance of the Vanguard.
Germain
so
is just a crack
kind of
addict
here to
at
kind of
this
be
point.
oversight of everything.
Whole story's gonna be
We've got a
saving
bunch of
him.
new villains
I say it.
too, alongside the
I mean, it's
criminal
kinda
syndicates and their
predictable, you know.
bosses. And we just
Poor
don't want to
Germain.
spoil too much
Gambit
right now.
2?
We're going to have more on the
not gonna
story
spoil Gambit
closer
2?
to launch.
All right. So we've
Yeah.
got smuggling, sabotaging, bounty hunting, wearing clothes, doing crime.
It's important.
Let's
Yeah, it's
talk
important.
about the gameplay.
Yeah, so being an individual means crimes and clothes. We've established that going forward. So one thing to make sure is clear here, in the campaign that has a bunch of story missions, it's going to introduce you to also the jobs that you'll be taking in addition to those story missions within the lawless frontier. So you'll be kind of climbing the ranks of the criminal underworld here because the syndicates are not going to trust you out the gate. You kind of have to garner influence with them before they're going to help you out in dealing with the Imperium. And so then at the conclusion of the campaign, once that Imperium's chokehold is kind of loosened on Tharsis and the lawless frontier, you unintentionally kick off a turf war between the three syndicates because now they're all vying for power because you've kind of toppled the top dog of their power hierarchy. Yeah.
And so let's talk about this. In December, the Lawless Frontier is coming. It's not just like a concept. It's an activity.
Yeah, and I know we're showing something on screen right now that is when you go through this daily ritual of dealing with contested territory, you'll be able to target the syndicate you want to kind of take down in that moment. But ultimately, the
event?
Lawless Frontier is a new activity where
Community
you'll
event?
be carrying out
I could
a
totally
variety
see
of
them
those
doing a
missions, those
community event,
smuggle, bounty hunt, sabotaging. I think
event with
I think
that.
you kind of can tell what they're
Like,
going to be
what
all
is it gonna
about
be,
just with the name of them.
the most attacked faction at
and
the
this
end
is
of
you
the
just
day,
partnering with and
bonus
against the
awards
syndicates,
or
and so it's fast.
maybe
it's
shapes
tactical,
the
and it's going to
story
throw
going forward.
a
I don't
ton
know
of
if they would
enemies
think
and
that
a
far. I think
variety
that'd be
of
a bit too tough for
objectives
them personally. You know, they
within
can barely
each of
handle
these
the Fell Winter
jobs
Supply
at
quest,
your fire team
but-
and new locations across Mars, Europa, and Venus. This is all about big, chaotic co-op action within the Lawless Frontier. Yeah.
Cool. And then when you're working with the syndicates, I expect to be paid when I take on a job. What are they going to be giving us?
Every criminal does.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean? So, one thing just to talk about at the top, because Tom and I are really excited about this, the creative lead on Renegades. The Cabal have been dropping pods on your head for 8 years now, something like that. And so with one of our Renegade abilities, we kind of get to turn the table on the Cabal and drop one on them. It also supplies you some ammo and stuff too, some nice convenience there. But the campaign ultimately introduce you to a number of these abilities. In the turf war, you'll actually choose which syndicates you want to pledge to in order to unlock more abilities and a bigger suite of upgrades. Also, depending on which syndicate you're pledged to, there will be other bonuses and weekly shipments coming into Tharsis as well that you get to take advantage of. And so one thing I want to note too is that all of these Renegade abilities that we're talking about in the Vidoc, they're purely additive to your subclass abilities. The Renegade abilities do not override any of your other Guardian abilities. So your super, your melee, your grenade, that's all at your disposal on top of these Renegade abilities. We really wanted to lean into the idea of this fantasy of you working with your crew and the various roles you could play within the Lost Frontiers of all these different type of jobs that you're going to be doing.
Awesome. And then I have to give a shout out to James Sy. He's frankly one of the biggest Star Wars nerds I've ever met in my life. But he was talking about the blaster and that feel the first time he shot it. Like, let's talk about him.
Yeah, I love that blaster, and because like my personal joke is it's like Forerunner at home. It's kind of like a legendary version of that exotic, and it just feels.
That's
fucking
exactly
incredible.
what I
So
said.
it feels
Yeah,
incredible.
it's just the
for
Forerunner
kids at
animations.
home. So we're gonna have a weapons deep dive close to launch. I know I keep saying that. There's a ton of the Vidoc. There's even more to be talking about in the next
And
few
again,
months.
what I was talking
But what
about,
we
weapons
can say
Vidoc,
about
closer to
blasters
launch,
right now
but-
is they're new, powerful weapons in your arsenal, and they actually draw ammo straight from your reserves, Dylan.
So, okay,
and
so
so
recharge
the
your
mechanic of
blasters
this
just like
is
the,
basically
just
heating
like
up
the
the
third
gun and
iteration,
then
but
venting
yeah,
it
the-
out. So no reloading technically.
My browser may
but
just
since you have
crashed,
to like charge up
but
heat and you
or
have
my
to
mouse
think
died or
about
something, I don't
overheating,
know.
it's a whole
But you're
mechanic
able
and
to
has
see
its
the,
own special
the
reload
Mandalorian
associated
blaster,
with it.
and
And so
I
it's
don't
going to be
know
all about finding
too much
like,
about
the
Star
rhythm
Wars
of
to tell
pace
you
and
what that
battle
pulse rifle
between
was,
building up
but
heat and
I mean, if I had to guess,
It's
if
really
they were
fun
gonna
to play
throw a
around with, and
foundry
the
on
team is
it,
really
it
honing
looked
in on
like what
something
a
that
Tex
feels
Mechanica
really
pulse
special
rifle would
and
look
new.
like, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Like a slug
we're not
rifle
going
or
to go too
something,
deep
I
on
don't know.
campaign because spoilers. We want to let players discover that.
Yeah.
We've talked about the Lawless Frontier, but one of the components is invasions.
Oh yeah. So you're going to unlock invasion as part of that turf war we've been talking about, and the syndicates are like reaching out to you, and they're giving you contracts to play Hitman against other Guardian crews. So it's 1 versus 3. It's you versus a Guardian crew on the Lawless Frontier. And like we said in the Vidoc, invasion is 100% opt-in for both the invaders and the defending fireteam crew. But don't worry, because all of the difficulty modes, there's always an option that is available to you if you don't want to engage in invasion. Yeah, we wanted to make sure that, because like even though some people love that PvE chocolate mixing with that PvP peanut butter, we wanted to make sure that if you didn't want to do that, there's always an option for you to do something else within the Lawless Frontier.
And then if you do opt in, though, there's more rewards or incentive, right?
I mean, yeah, you're like asking, you're basically saying, hey, fire team, I'm open to having another Guardian come and wreck shop and mess my day up, right? And so you're taking a higher risk, so therefore there's a chance of higher reward depending on how you handle that, right?
Cool. Yeah, I mean, so that covers gameplay effectively. We do have a dungeon. We showed a little tease, but again, no spoilers. We'll let you discover that on day one. Let's talk about the last thing that players may have seen, or the first thing, honestly. We saw chat blown up. Let's talk about the saber.
Right. So, yeah, this is Destiny's homage, right? It's our love letter to the Star Wars lightsaber. And we're calling it the Praxic Blade. Again, we'll be sharing a whole lot more closer to launch. I'm really sorry. I feel like a parrot right now just saying the same thing. But what I can say is that the Praxic Blade is going to be highly customizable in both gameplay and visuals. And so there's going to be a ton of parts and components.
Can't tell
that
us
you'll be
anything
chasing
on
and
Vidoc.
discovering
Can't
throughout
show
the
us
Lawless
anything on
Frontier,
live
within the
stream,
turf
bro.
war,
Just get to the fucking
within
Ash
the
and Iron
dungeon
stuff, because we're
itself,
gonna
and
be
this
seeing
is
that
all
in
about
30
kinda
minutes
making the
anyway.
Praxic Blade your own. And you saw it in the Vidoc, but the blade really does feel truly exotic right now. You can do things with it that no other weapon can do in Destiny, and I really can't wait till players get their hands on it here in a few months.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for Renegades. We have 2 more big subjects to go through today. So thanks for running us through that.
Of course.
Our next section is going to be all about quality of life. It's going to be about a lot of the feedback that we've been seeing in the live game since Edge of Fate launched. And then after that, we'll be talking about Ash and Iron with another cast of devs to talk about a bunch of cool stuff. So ultimately, we have quite a lot coming over the next few months. We're going to be talking about a bunch of high-level goals, objectives, some of our philosophy. We do not have a roadmap today, but we will have a roadmap in the next few weeks outlining our road to Renegades, which I've been calling it selfishly. So we'll figure out a fancier name for it at some point, but let's dive in. I think the first thing that I want to talk about here, let me get this up. I mean, ultimately, this feels like we're having a mini community summit on stream.
Yeah.
But let's talk about
Mini
rewards.
community
Let's talk about
summit.
the portal. Let's talk about
What?
power. Let's talk about the climb.
They're
and the
trolling.
feedback
He's
that we've been
fucking
seeing.
rage
So
baiting.
to do a little bit more table setting
He's
and framing
rage baiting.
here, like we said at the top of the
Don't
stream,
over-deliver-
we've been
beware of
taking a lot this
over-delivery,
feedback to heart,
audio-
right? We've been listening
DMG.
very intently. We've been looking at our data, and Dylan, we know we need to make some changes, right? And so this is what this whole next section is going to be about. We're going to talk about a ton of stuff. Some of it, a little bit of it is going to come from Ash and Iron, a lot more in Renegades, and then even more in the future. And so coming back to the power climb, we want it to be faster. We want it to
So
have
they
improved
can't
rewards,
buff
and we
fire
really
team.
wanted
So
to
they can't buff
highlight
fire team
new and
activities
aspirational
to
activities,
Renegades.
when Renegades
That's
launches. And
so
that means looking at the
stupid.
Renegades,
What the fuck are we
campaign
doing, man?
And the Renegades jobs. And
That's
the Lawless
so
Frontier and the
goddamn
activities
dumb.
you do there. and making sure that they both feel like great sources of seasonal power. We know with the Edge of Fate, after you completed the campaign on Kepler, that there's a bunch of cool stuff to do and some rewards to get, but it didn't fit into the seasonal power game, right? It didn't feel like it was a viable
bunch of cool stuff
path.
to do. He said
And
it
so
was
these
literally
big chaotic
just
fire
Civ.
team
That's
based
all
jobs
it
that we
was, and you
built
replayed the
and all that
campaign
variety
two
we're
more
pouring
times
into
higher
it is going to be
difficulties.
this engine
And then
to,
you just
to climb
spammed
seasonal
portal
power. If
activities
you're just
until you
loving
hit
that activity, you're going to be
400,
able
and
to
then
spend
decided you
an
didn't want to
enormous amount of
RNG
time
farm to 500 to
Yeah,
450.
and you touched on aspirational content. So when we look at it, you're doing the power climb, but you're looking at the end game, and our raids and dungeons are a part of that.
Yes, they are. So we are making sure here, there's two approaches we're taking and a bunch of work that's going to come out of it. So our focus initially here is going to be on the new raid and dungeon content in this conversation. So that is Desert Perpetual, the Epic Raid here in a couple weeks, and then the dungeon releasing with Ash and Iron. And so we want to make sure that those are more dependable sources of power, both from weekly challenges, some of which that are going to happen in Ash and Iron, but then also we're going to be looking at the power drops that come when you're completing encounters and looking to see if we can adjust those and juice them up a little bit. The other big area, because what we're talking about when we say aspiration is like in-game. You're doing an in-game thing. I should be rewarded for that. So with the launch of the Epic Raid for the Desert Perpetual and Epic Raid and then the dungeon afterwards, we're going to make all drops, the base drops you earn in that content, tier 3. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's ultimately attesting to like players got through some of the power grind, they went into the raid and they were seeing tier 1, tier 2 drops, and that
Right.
didn't feel like endgame loot.
It
So
did not.
we're making this tier 3 is the baseline, but then you can build up to tier 4 and tier 5 as you add more challenge, add more difficulty.
Yeah, and
So-
I think we hit on it, but I just want to make sure. We talked about improved rewards, right, around some of the newer content that is coming. This effort, though, is also being applied across the portal itself. And so, Dylan, I know you and I have talked about it a bunch. You know, we talked about solo ops, right? You mentioned Caldera.
Yeah, let's talk about variety in the
Yeah.
portal and more reasons or more ways to play.
Yeah, exactly. And part of that, right, part of that theory right here is just like that thinking is we just have to improve the rewards, right? And so a lot of what we're doing is going to be about bringing the baseline of the reward experience with Renegades up to that, closer to that solo ops experience, and also really incentivize playing in fire teams more because, hey, we know Destiny's feeling lonely right now if all you do is spend time in the mines, right? And so
Yeah.
we want to do we know we need to do a much better job at that. The other,
just
go
to
ahead,
just to go into that example, like we're talking about Caldera, it's a solo op activity, and players feel it is the most viable path to power. So a social game like Destiny, it is a problem where you feel like you should be playing alone for all the reasons. It's like, hey, sorry friends, you want to play raid, you want to play something else? Sorry, I'm going to go into Caldera and play alone.
Yeah.
We want to address that. We
Yes.
want to make sure Destiny is social, fun to play with friends,
So
while still maintaining.
he's
Hey, as a
just
solo
quoting
player,
me
you
directly
can
at this
absolutely hop
point.
in,
You
got
saw
but
my
we aren't going to
tweet,
make you
I'm
feel
on that
worse.
copium.
So, example there too. We said, hey, we're going to tone down Caldera and solo ops. We're actually reverting that. We had announced it. We're taking that back. And as you said, that's the new benchmark. We're going to raise things up to feel like Caldera and feel rewarding like solo ops.
Yeah, and we've already talked about that. We're going to do some of that in Ash and Iron. One of the other things we're looking at doing in Ash and Iron right now is taking our bonus engrams and having them just more consistently award power deeper into the climb and adjusting that. We're also, this is a good segue, I think, kind of into our next area where we can talk more about reworks we're going to be doing within the game and some changes we're making. So the other thing we're going to be doing with bonus engrams when Renegades launches is they're going to feed more into a weekly ritual. You know, a thing that you know when it launches, there's a bunch of stuff to do that's going to accelerate you into power climb.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the effectively weekly reset, curated activities from Bungie. So you have a moment each week of, let's hop into raid night, let's do Grandmasters, things like that.
Yeah, so the thing you're speaking to, Dylan, the thing we talk about a lot is like, yeah, clan night, raid night, right? We got to get that feeling of hey, I log in on Tuesday and there's just like a bunch of stuff to look forward to. And so a few ways we're going to do that is one with a new system that we're calling Vanguard orders that comes out in Renegades. So Vanguard orders are actually this like new objective system where you're going to be, and we should have a mock-up on screen right now. It looks like our monitor isn't showing the exact right thing, just our place in the studio, so I'm just going to assume it's working. And so within these Vanguard
I'm going
orders,
to assume it's working. The Bungie
you're going to have all these
studio
different
philosophy.
objectives that you can do, and you don't have to pick these up like bounties, right? These are things that will just be automatically granted to you when you log into the portal.
I
and then
see.
what's really
Okay,
cool about
so, alright,
these
so
is that they pull some of that like Destiny 1 bounty vibe, where as you complete
This
an order on the
reminds me of,
left-hand
like,
side of the screen of
vanilla
this mock-up
Destiny
here,
2, like the
you will actually roll. You can roll on
destination
higher tier
bounties,
orders, like a
they didn't have
legendary
regular
order
bounties back
that will
then.
give you consistent
Go to
rewards, or
destination,
an
do 3
exotic tier
activities and get a
order
reward
that
or
can
get
give you
tokens
exotic
or
tier
whatever.
rewards. And so
You
this
get
is
your
all
2
about just
tokens
creating a
in
bunch
blue.
more like little moments of variety within the portal and these different
Okay,
little
alright,
objectives.
well, that makes enough
that you
sense
can
at
do.
least, but that's just like
We already touched
adding more
on
challenges
bonus
to
engrams
the
a little bit, and how we're going to be
weekly portal
reworking
track
those
already.
even
I mean,
more
I
with
don't know if
Renegades
that
launches
solves
to
the
feed
problem,
into that
but
idea of like,
it's
look at all these
certainly
things in the
quicker
portal.
way to
I
get
know if I
rewards,
go and
even though it
gobble up
wasn't
all the
slow
green
in the first
engrams,
place.
I'm accelerating on my power climb, and that's much easier and clearer for players to understand. But the other place that we've been getting a ton of feedback on, and we're going to be making changes to, is the weekly conquests, basically. So right now, we have the concept of the conquest as a milestone on your seasonal power journey, and it gives you like a massive, like big dump of rewards. We are going to be making those we're going to be making it repeatable, but then there's going to be a weekly reward for them. There's no way for us, honestly, to balance the crazy amount of rewards you get from the milestones, but we're going to make sure we incentivize them and create a weekly version as
and we actually have a change going live today to make conquests repeatable, but the rewards component is what we need to focus on for a future update.
Yeah, and Dylan, you and I were talking about this a bunch over the last couple of days. Is like we want to get back to that, like we want to get Conquest closer to that GM feeling, to that Grandmaster Nightfall feeling of the past, and that's kind of like our little North Star for that.
Yep.
The other big thing too that we've been listening to feedback on, and we're moving really, really fast on right now, is getting weekly legacy raid and dungeon content as like a tunnel from the portal to that. So to set expectations here with Renegades, this is going to first come in the form of, hey, reasons to play this content, to do like weekly challenges and earn powerful rewards from them, right? Again, we want this weekly reset. We want you to clearly know when you log in, here's a bunch of stuff to look forward to play with your friends and others. The reason I have to set expectations, though, is like we hear the feedback about wanting the gear reprised from raids and dungeons. Dylan, if we could just like flip a switch and make that happen, I think we'd be more than happy to do that. But it's just not that simple. There's a bunch of work that goes into actually creating the new gear and the gear tiers, and so we are going to be looking to make the reward experience of Legacy and Raid Dungeons better as time goes on. Our first focus is making
Tiger Engine is so flawed at this point, where it's like they lost the original manual on how to make it work, and like everything they're doing is just like
3 encounters coming
fucking
from Legacy
patchwork
dungeon
and
content.
bubblegum.
You
Like,
can get
why
power-ups from those. You
do
can
they
get
not
portal gear from
first
those, but we hear
create
the feedback on
tools
general rewards.
per se to
We're
port a
we're
weapon
gonna
from
be looking
previous years
to add
to
more
current
like what
years?
this
Like,
weekly ritual feels like.
I don't know
These
if
are
they
the areas
did
we
that
are
because it
targeting,
should
initially
be,
here for
backseat game dev here. It
So
should
let's
be
move on
as
to
simple
our final two
as somebody
subjects really are
flicking the
centered around
switch
sandbox.
or updating a perk
First
pool.
of which is going to be
Like,
build crafting, and then the second is around just our general approach
It is
to
like
balance.
pirate software code.
So we
where
have another
each
list
unique
here of,
case is
honestly, we've been
assigned
getting a
an
ton of feedback
imaginary
around
number
featured gear.
or
We've
just
been
a
getting
pretend
feedback around,
integer.
like,
You have to
legendary
update
weapon
all
tiering.
instances
What are
of
we
the
thinking?
integer across the
so,
entire world
this whole space is
whenever
about
you want to
expanding
make
build
one
crafting and gear
change.
chase.
It's all like
And we
floating
have,
values
we
from
hear
the
y'all. Like,
original
we hear that
developers
featured
who
gear
thought,
is far
hey,
too
I'm going to be working
restrictive
at this
for
studio
how you're playing
forever,
the game
9
right now.
layoffs
And so one of
later,
the big
right?
changes
Like,
we're making
nobody
is
knows
all
what's going
exotic
on.
weapons and armor
Like,
are going to be featured.
I'm convinced
gear starting
I'm
in
convinced
Renegades.
Destiny might be the
So,
first
the
game
class
that Unreal
items and
Engine
prismatic
may
builds,
fix.
they're back
Like,
on the table. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You're not having to think about what exotic you put on. It's all about what build
Drop
you wanna
old gen
craft,
support.
right? The other thing that we've been listening
Destiny
to a lot
3
when it
Unreal
comes to the
Engine,
gear
Unreal
chase
Engine 5.
is like,
I
hey,
don't know what to
you might earn a tier 1, 2, or 3 weapon, a roll of a weapon you really love, your personal god roll, or the community saying this is a god roll, and you're looking at that and you're like, man, it's cool, but like it's not that top tier, right? And so in Shadow and Order, which is our major update coming after Renegades, you're going to be able to enhance the tier of your legendary weapons all the way from tier 1 to tier 5 with a new currency and a new feature that we're building for those. Again, this is all about expanding that gear chase.
Yeah. And before we get ahead of ourselves, like as a player, and I'm guessing in chat, people are saying, oh, so I should be keeping my tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 weapons. Where am I going to put these? What's going on with vault space?
Yeah, so with Renegades, we are going to give you more vault space. That is the thing we're going to
How
be
much
doing.
more?
And also the team is working on a
much
pretty
more?
big update to improve the sorting and filtering of just using your vault in-game as well.
How much more
Yeah,
vault
we'll have
space?
many
How much
details
more?
in the coming,
How
weeks
much
and
more,
months when we get this
Dylan?
roadmap
How much
together.
more?
But our final
100
note in this section
spaces?
before we go to balance is,
200,
the
300?
total scoring.
How much more,
Yes.
Dylan?
Yeah, so right now with the featured and new gear, there is just an intrinsic bonus that you get for wearing that gear. I guess it's extrinsic because we're asking you to put it on. But anyway, if you have it on, you get a score bonus in the portal, which means you're not only thinking about like activity customization, your build, but also now you have to think about the score too, and like, should I wear this or not in order to chase the high score? And for the vast majority of the experiences in the portal, we think that's just too much complexity right now. And so we are sunsetting that idea. And so again, this is going to drastically open up the space for you to basically use whatever you want in the vast majority of things you play inside of the portal when you're chasing gear and doing that power climb. Yeah.
And a North Star for this, when y'all were talking about it, we've had a ton of conversations with the dev team, is like, there's a lot of feeling of, I'm playing Destiny the wrong way, and this was contributing to it because I had to think, oh, if I put this armor on, it's wrong. This helps that out and gets you into the fun faster.
Yes,
So.
and then like we do believe and see a space for ways to highlight gear and exotics and things like that. You know, stuff we've done with the artifact for a while now. We want it to be part of the game because I think, you know, pushing people off of the super hot stuff is really healthy sometimes to just have more fun and experiment with things. But we know that we need to find ways to make this feel like a bonus and more excitement to do it versus what we currently have now, which is why we're making these changes.
Awesome. Yeah, and then our last section here for quality of life, let's talk about sandbox balance. Y'all have been really taking a lot of the feedback to heart since the announce of quite a few nerfs and some balancing, and you have some new approaches to philosophy when it comes to this.
Yeah, so at the top here, one of the things we're doing is we're upgrading our internal process for kind of how we evaluate our buff and nerf policies
Ship
and also
of
the timing
Theseus
of
ass
which
development
when we
team,
go out
man.
and do those. And so a big
Like,
part of
nobody
that
knows what
here
they're doing anymore.
through Renegade's launch is going to be non-critical balance changes are on pause right now. And so this is partially in reaction to obviously some of the sentiment around some of the changes we're making, but it's giving time for us to make sure that when we do start to do more balance updates a little more frequently again, we communicate honestly. We just need to do a better job about communicating about why we're changing something and some of the intent.
We're
behind
listening.
it.
We're listening.
And the reason I speak about
they will
this,
not share the data. They
yeah, 'cause you
refuse
asked me
to
just a
share
couple
the
times in
data.
rehearsal, Dylan. It's like, what does non-critical
Like-
mean? Sorry, taking your words here.
No.
I could do this. I could do
We
this.
really want to make sure that we're still making balance changes,
They're
or
so
if we have to ban
incompetent, man.
something
I
for,
just-
for
I
that
hate feeling
epic raid
this way.
race or the dungeon race.
It's
that's gonna
something that I
happen
love,
with
is just
Renegades,
being
right? The quality of that experience
bastardized
is
by people
incredibly
who, not to say they
important
don't
to us,
care,
and we know it's
but they just
incredibly
don't
important to y'all.
understand.
And so
they just don't understand. They
again,
don't play their own
we're going to
fucking
pause on
game.
nerfs and balance changes for now, but if we really need to change something because it's critical for those upcoming events, we'll make changes.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's like, there's some things where you watch somebody go on a Titan and kill a raid boss in 2 punches, like, that's critical. That needs to be toned down or balanced around. But other things, like, we actually have a list here of, we announced some tuning changes or nerfs that we're going to be reverting. Last week we were talking about Grand Overture and Queenbreaker.
Yeah.
We're reverting the changes there.
Yes.
And then we had some reworks to exotics like Stronghold, Chromatic Fire. We're going to be reverting those. And then as a part of this new initiative where we're looking at our philosophy, reevaluating how we do these things, we'll be looking how we approach it and how we communicate it.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
cool. And then final note to end on a high, honestly, like we've been talking about nerfs and all that. Let's talk about buffs.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So we've got some buffs. We've been working with the gameplay team around supers and subclasses that are going to be coming. Some with Ash and Iron here in October, but then also in December with Renegades. And I think you've been talking with them a little more closely actually in the last 24 hours.
Big thank you to Ben Womack, Eric Smith, Sandbox team. A couple notes, like we saw a thread where folks were saying, hey, the original 3 supers that launched with Destiny 11 years ago, happy birthday.
Yeah.
They feel a bit undertuned. And I saw a note where it's like Ward of Dawn, Titan Bubble. That needs to be brought up. Golden Gun. I know Warlocks are getting some abilities changes too.
Turrets.
So
Turrets changes coming very
yeah,
soon.
and grenades and other things too outside
Yep.
of turrets. So we will have a full list over the coming weeks, and honestly, it may build. We need to get our roadmap together so we know exactly which hot fixes, updates they're going to be rolling out in. But yeah, we'll be as transparent as possible with you. So to really
No,
end
he
it,
won't. No, he won't. We're
and
not going to
get
be as
into
transparent as
the
possible
awesome
because they don't
Ash and
believe
Iron
in it.
content. Like, thank you again to everybody that's been giving us feedback. Thank you to everybody that's been playing and diving into all the changes. We know some need work, and we're going to be doing that. We've been listening, and now we're getting through the planning stages, and we're executing on a bunch of changes over the next few updates and beyond Renegades. So, Robbie, thank you for joining us. As we're going into Ash and Iron, we got to get the catch full of new devs.
Yep.
So, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, we're listening and we're going to keep responding to the feedback. So thank you all so much. And yeah, let's get some more people on the couch. I've been talking too much.
Yeah, you
See
brought
y'all
up
later.
Vidoc. We have a trailer for Ash to roll.
Let's do it.
That was a good
The conductor's forces are rampant in the plague lands.
And this was the trailer from.
We're sending
This
you
was
in
the
to
trailer
investigate
from last
and
week
take
that we
action.
already saw.
Be ready for anything.
To the next assault point. Make every shot count, my friend. It's good to carry a gun. Better to have guns carry you.
Stay in the fight. We're almost home.
All right, welcome back. In about 20 minutes, the content from that trailer is going live. Let's talk about Ash and Iron. We have a bunch of really cool stuff coming with a new activity called Reclaim. We have a new introductory activity that's going to be giving you some insight into the narrative. We also have an exotic mission coming in October. Team's finishing up on that, and we're super excited for the weapon that's associated with that. And we actually have some updates to recurring events like Iron Banner, Arms Week, Festival of the Lost, and more. So without further ado, hello, welcome to our couch, wonderful developers. Some of you have been here before, but Noah, first on the couch, this is your first time.
Yeah, no, I'm super happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome. For folks to learn who you are,
Yeah.
who are you? What do you do? What's your title?
Yeah, my name's Noah Pearson. I'm an associate sandbox designer here at Bungie. While my title is like officially working on the armor team, I do work in exotic armor from time to time, but you find me more commonly working on the seasonal artifacts, so like the one for Heresy, the current one for Season of Reclamation. Both those are mine. But I've also branched out and I've gotten to do a pretty cool exotic weapon in this release as well.
Awesome. Next on the couch, Jerome, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, really quick, let's get a summary. Who are you? What do you do?
I'm Jerome. I'm a narrative lead, so we do the lore, we do the dialogue.
All right, we got some new characters to abuse on Twitter. Jerome Virnish.
For Destiny 2.
I'm
Awesome.
trolling, by
Last
the
but not
way. I'm
least,
trolling, by the
Clayton,
way.
welcome back. I believe
Joking,
you were last
please
here
do not
for
ban me.
Revenant And,
Please
Into
do
the
not
Light.
ban me.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
for
we got,
folks that may
we got
miss
two
out
new
on those
characters on the
streams.
couch to
Who are
abuse
you?
on
What do you
Twitter.
do?
Again?
Yeah, so I'm a design
Please
lead
do not
here
ban
for
me.
the activities and events area on Destiny 2, and in the past I've been an activity designer or feature owner for activities like Onslaught or Coil or Seraph Shield. So it's been really fun getting my hands dirty in different types of activities and bringing those experiences to the players.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So as we're diving through some stuff, we already have gameplay rolling. This is our new activity, Reclaim. But Jerome, let's talk about narrative. How are things kicking off?
For sure. Well, Maya Sundaresh, the conductor, has somewhat overextended herself on Kepler during the events of Edge of Fate. And she foolishly tried to meddle in the affairs of the Nine and essentially assassinated
So,
3 of the 9, which is the
I don't care
three
about the story,
of-
but it looks
of
like
Earth.
the new
Three
exotic
being a
season.
single entity.
Yes,
and stuff
exactly.
Like that.
And that's going to have
Rocket-
huge
rocket
knock-on
pulse-
effects for
rocket
the
pulse
people of
rifle
Earth in
exotic.
physics
And it
and
appears-
chemistry, and we'll hear a lot more about
I could be
that
wrong
in
here, but it appears that
Renegades.
it shoots
But for now,
like
Maya is somewhat
rockets
depleted, right?
that
and
pierce the
she
target and
is
they
starting
don't
to
detonate
lose
until you do a
control
special
over
reload.
her
Like that's just what
collective.
it,
She's
that's
starting
just
to
what it
bleed,
looks like, which kind of reminds me
individuals
of
at the edges
there
of
was
her
a movie
collective,
that had
and those
something like
are
that a while
the
ago, but it looks interesting enough.
pants-wearing, poker-playing
Oh,
decks that you
Duke
saw.
Ryan,
It'll be good for
yeah,
Crucible, but it'll
Exactly,
be good
exactly.
for pretty much everything else.
And so she needs to reassert control over her collective. And in order to do that, she needs a signal boost to maximize the power of her waning echo of command. And the best tool for that job is, of course, Golden Age tech. And the best place to find Golden Age tech is in the Vanguard Vault, which is why Ashen Iron begins with a defense of the tower from a smash and grab by Maya's forces, both Vex and conscripted Cabal, which you'll learn more about during the season. But that's going to be
okay. So another roguelite,
start,
another roguelite
but not
activity.
sufficient for her plans.
I do like that. I do
so
like
she
that.
will need a fully
Big fan of
functional
roguelites
war
that they
set
made.
network to really expand her reach. And there's only one place where you can find that, and that's in the Plaguelands, which is where most of Ashen Iron takes place.
Awesome. So speaking of the smash and grab, when players first sign in for Ashen Iron, they're going to see a node that they can launch for the introductory mission. It's not auto-launched. You're going to select it, jump in when you're ready. But after that, you'll hop into Reclaim. Those are going to be some new activities. And Clayton, let's get a quick overview. What are players seeing on the screen?
Yeah, so Reclaim is our new 3-player activity. It comes with 3 different variants. It has players, like Jerome was saying, going into the Plaguelands, stopping Maya's forces from taking Golden Age tech and reclaiming those areas, those territories. And so you notice that there's a lack of Fallen, but we, through our ambient combatants and our environmental storytelling, you'll know a little bit more about what has happened there, how Maya's come in and pushed them all out. You'll see some of them trying to fight back to get in because they think that's their land, right? And as a player, you're trying to go in there and play in a similar way that you might find like Overthrow, where we took a lot of inspiration from. So you get to choose how you want to fill that progress bar. Do you want to finish a bunch of encounters that are randomly generated, which adds to a bunch of replayability? You can progress by finding hidden chests or defeating roaming high-value targets. There's collectibles in there as well, all without a timer, so you and your fire team can strategize and take their time to go through the area. Awesome. And then once you've completed the area, unlike Overthrow, you move to the next area by way of ship that you'll see on the screen.
Stellar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was talking to our gameplay folks before this launched, and we talked a bit about there's a bit of Nether DNA in here, where you have your main objectives, and then you can find things throughout the area as well.
Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, we have Vivian went ham and gave us these quite frankly unbalanced buffs that will have a rare chance of spawning, and you get to choose which one. One example is that if you choose it, you'll just be radiant and. What's the other? Radiant and Amplified, thank you. Yeah, just the whole time. So yeah, have fun choosing between these crazy buffs and using them to finish the activity.
Awesome. And when we're talking about collectibles,
you saw right there,
he
had the axe on his back.
Too,
it's a 100%
Absolutely.
weapon
We're
type.
continuing the pass forward from the previous expansion, and those lore
not
drops
schizophrenic, I
will
saw it.
tell players a lot about what to expect in Renegades, both in the cast and the themes. Though it's not explicit, so they'll have to use a little detective work, we hope, but it will give a lot of information about what's to come.
Got it. So these are going to be like the data pads you find.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
the portal.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah. So I mean, let's talk about weapons. Let's talk about the loot. And Noah, now it's time for the spotlight to go on you.
Yeah.
First up, let's talk about the exotic that's going to be in the rewards pass for Ashen Iron. This is going to be our pulse rifle.
Yeah, so Noon Malpice is going to be our reward pass exotic for this release. Obviously, with the Edge of Fate, we released a rocket frame pulse rifle, Mint Retrograde, that people have really taken to a liking for. And we kind of took a look at that, and we're like, well, what's a cool way to one-up that and +1 it for an exotic? So you may notice from the gameplay that this rocket pulse doesn't just shoot the micro rockets. It shoots sticky bombs. And these will stick onto the environment, they'll stick onto enemies, and when you hold down your special reload button, they'll pop little firecrackers. And it's really fun to just sort of spray them out across a group of guys, and then you turn around, walk away from them, and click the button, and have them pop all behind you, because cool Guardians don't look at explosions.
So this may say a lot about me as a person, but you can also stick these to your teammates, right?
I guess you'll have to see.
All right.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
so
no,
let's
let's
talk
go.
about the next exotic. This is going to be tied to an exotic mission that's coming out in October, and I can already see you kind of getting excited, like Vivian was excited for the crossbows that we added. Let's talk about the Iron Axe.
Yeah, you kept me waiting, huh? Yeah, so the exotic mission, way back with Rise of Iron, as a player, I remember the YouTube videos coming out ahead of it of YouTubers being like, hey, maybe Bungie's gonna give us this axe that's in the marketing, and obviously didn't come to pass in that release, and come final shape, Crow's got it, and I, much like many people, were like, man, I want that axe.
When's my turn?
I want that thing. So when I heard that we were going to be doing a little Return to the Plaguelands, it was like, I'm going to twist whatever arm's necessary to finally get the thing that I know I want and I've seen other people want for ages. So yeah, I can confirm that's no relic. That's our new exotic weapon.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think for Clayton and Jerome, since this exotic mission, the team is finishing up the touches and really building this experience. It'll be launching in October. So let's just give a quick preview, no spoilers or no deep spoilers, about what's the premise.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Maya wants to expand her reach, and the best way to do that is like the same way you would with the Wi-Fi in your house. You need expanders, you need routers, right, to boost that signal. And so she is going to be looking to get her hands on Warsat technology, which is why we'll be
I recognize
working with
this
Saint
area
14
from this is where you
and Anna Bray
originally
throughout the
spawned
season.
into the
Saint 14 is sort of our tactical
part of this
expert,
was
and then
the
Anna,
Iron Galhorn quest was the
as,
Iron Galhorn
with
quest was
her
right here
association to
as
Rasputin,
well. So that's
having
nice.
all the subject matter expertise
Unk
on
still
Warsats.
knows it.
Awesome.
And not to get too deep into spoilers, but you will be working with 3 of Kayatol's Scions specialists during the mission. So,
Man, I can't wait. Yeah, October can't come soon enough. So let's come back to
it's a
day
sword.
one.
It's not a
And
new weapon
I
type.
keep
Like,
checking my watch here. 10 minutes, 11 minutes.
That's
until
just so
launch.
frustrating to
We
me.
also have a slate of legendary weapons.
That's
that are
so
gonna be coming
frustrating.
out. We have some armor sets in the
I
portal
don't know,
that are going to
man.
have
I
brand
just-
new.
I don't know. It's just the
armor
little
set
things.
bonuses,
It's just
but we
like
also have brand new
the lack of
weapons.
effort.
And I know a couple of these things are kind of
it's coded.
complementary to
It has all the
Yeah.
same animations
So
as
with
the relic.
Ash and
Like,
Iron,
it's not,
Leah's
it's
Sandbox,
not
we're like
anything
taking a look at some of
new,
the exotics we wanted
right,
to bring
in
up,
terms
and
of
we talked about
animations, like,
Mida
we've
and
seen all
Sturm
those
getting
before.
some updates to bring them.
The only thing
up to
that's
that
new
modern
is that
parity.
it's like
But,
in our
when
inventory,
those weapons
but
came
it's
out during
coded
year one,
as a sword
they came
still.
with their paired
Now,
weapons, and like during that
I'm
time,
gonna give them the benefit
you know,
of the
it made
doubt
sense, you
and
know,
just
like
say
have two primaries.
that
That was what
it
the
is
game
to make
was.
things
So when
easier
you're taking a
for
look at
balancing
like
purposes,
bringing them up to
for
modern
the same
sandbox
way
standards,
that
you're like, well,
crossbows
probably hit
count
it for
as
the
bows.
paired
Like,
weapons
they're
as well
not
too.
its own unique
So we took a
weapon
look at
class.
some of our other
Crossbows
special
are
archetypes, and we're like, what can
in
we
the game code
set up
called
for this?
bows.
So
So
with this release, we've talked about them.
you know,
I believe,
benefit of the
in
doubt, benefit
the
of the
Twid,
doubt, they
but
just did it to make it
we
easier to
are gonna
balance.
have
But
a
knowing
rocket
Bungie,
frame Drang
knowing
on fall,
Bungie, they forgot the
and a new,
ancient
like,
Chinese
lightweight
art
Mida
of,
macro tool
of balancing
shotgun.
their video games.
And both of them have perk pools that kind of key off of being those paired weapons. So like Mida macro tool has Discord and Trench Barrel, and it was really fun to like run that with Mida. Because then you have like, you know, you pop a couple guys to get those like attachments onto Mida, and then you switch and you have Discord proc, and you like slap a guy, and then you just are able to like pump into a bunch of dudes. And it's got the really cool draw animation from Wastelander back during 30th anniversary.
Just
so you
as
get
I
that cool,
thought
like,
when I saw the
cowboy
intro
draw.
for the first time, that it was going to be
and
a
it's
Mida
just,
shotgun.
it's so
Like,
fun to
even
run
though
And
it's
the
super
sidearm
boring,
is
but it's
arc,
just Mida
correct?
on the
It
stock.
is our
so.
second arc rocket frame sidearm.
And then Unifall,
It's got a pretty big
the
mag
new,
size, so
the new
instead of Voltron on
Drang
this one,
frame, I
it
guess,
has
kind of
built-in
reminds
feedback,
me of
which is pretty fun to plug a couple rockets into.
It's a
guy,
bastard
and have them
combination
jolted, and then pop them with like a
of
really powerful stern
Drang
shot.
and
Awesome.
Vestian Dynasty.
Yeah, and these are going to be added
which
so
is
through
like
the portal.
really weird.
In
They
the
just
portal in the fire
slapped two
team
weapon
area.
models
That's where you're
together.
gonna earn some of these.
I hate to
we
say
also
it.
have Crucible Ops is going to be the source of the shotgun, and then a couple other things as well that you'll discover in just a few minutes here. So let's move on. Our last conversation, or our last topic of the day, is going to be around events, our recurring events. And the first thing that kicks off is actually a new one to celebrate Reclaim. And Clayton, what are we going to be doing today?
Yeah, we're launching with New Territories Reclaim. It's a new standard event that will highlight a new activity. And so we do that with our daily challenges, weekly challenges, or
They just
it's
merged-
4 weeks,
they
so
just
1 weekly
merged
challenge.
the
and
Drang
it has
Vestian
a reward
Dynasty
track
weapon models
and
in
an event
pretend that
home
we
that you can
wouldn't
launch
notice,
the
but-
activity from as well.
Hey, I noticed. The shit goes
I believe
live
it's
in
next
9
week.
minutes.
We also have
right?
Iron Banner
9
back.
minutes.
So
at the
is
time
that
of this
also
video.
gonna
I'm
have
trying to
an
upload this
event
video
home?
as soon as I
Yes,
can.
we'll have
My
event
internet
home,
has been doggy
same
for
sort
quite a
of
while,
things
so
for daily
it's going through 2
challenges,
rounds
weekly
compression.
challenge.
Hopefully, I can get
You'll
the
have a
file
reward
size
track,
under
we have
90
hand cannon
megabytes.
coming
but,
in there.
you know.
We have an armor set, and you'll have your title and your triumphs as well.
Yeah, I believe we redacted the new set bonuses for Iron Banner, but I've heard they're actually kind of quite fun.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Might want to hold on to it when you get your hands on that axe.
Awesome. And then the third event that's going to be coming is Arms Week. Noah, coming back. The first one was all centered around let's look at hand cannons. We had the new shotgun style hand cannon.
Yeah.
And then with this one, it's going to be shotguns.
Yeah. Yeah, we're taking a look at shotguns this time around. So much like during the prior Arms Week, we will also have a cool slate of shotgun mods this time around. My favorite of which, when the designer who was working on them, Taylor Bjorndal, who was on the stream before, when he was starting to work on them, me and him were sort of bouncing ideas back and forth. And I was talking about like old rapid fire frame shotguns when they had like the really fast rate of fire. And I was like, I mean, what if all shotguns shot like that? And he like paused for a minute, and then I got the message, what if they're all just Fourth Horsemen?
Oh, Bjorn, you mad scientist.
It is really entertaining to take a slug
That sounds
shotgun
really
and
cool
have
to
it
have
shoot that fast.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of celebration with these volatile mods for hand cannons during that week. So with
The hand
shotguns,
cannon
we have
mods were
the
super
one that's
underwhelming.
effectively going to be
Super,
Fourth
super
Horseman
underwhelming.
everywhere.
Yeah.
But we have a
So,
couple more too,
yeah, hopefully
and
the
we'll
shotgun
leave that
mods
for
are a
players to
little bit-
discover.
it's gonna
later.
be better now.
Next up on the slate, we have Festival Lost is going to be coming back during Ash and Iron, and we have a preview of our armor sets. So these are armor ornament sets. Y'all voted on these
That's Slender
earlier
Man.
in the year last
That's
year,
Slender Man.
and we had to show them. They look
I hate the Hunter
awesome.
ones. The Hunter
I
ones
cannot
so
wait
bad.
to have those roses on my
The
shoulder.
Titan, the
But with,
Jason,
Festival Lost,
and the
we
Slender
have
Man
some
look
new
so
activity
good.
content,
The Hunter
correct?
one
That's
looks,
right.
I just
The
don't like it.
Headless Ones have broken out of Haunted Lost Sector jail. Because of that, we have new activities. So we have a new PvE 6-player activity called Haunted
Thank
Altars. And then we have a
God,
new PvP
new
called
activity
Red
for
Rumble.
Festival of the Lost.
Hocus Focusing is coming back. It's going to be a 2-week-long activity. We have 2 new weapons, a reprised weapon. You'll have your reward track, event home.
The war's over. They're watching my
I'm
video.
very excited. It is very fun to play in those activities.
Awesome.
So it's chaos. Just all chaos.
And then the last on our list, so Jerome, we have a new
Bungie
event
watch my
called
videos.
Call to
They have
Arms
to watch
that's going
my
to be coming
videos.
at the end
War's
of Ash and
over.
Iron. Can you give us
War
a
is
quick
over.
overview?
Sure. We're going to be working with Devrim, Devrim K, who has been holding down the EDZ for the better part of a decade without a ghost, right? Doing it all in one life. And he'll be taking some much-deserved R&R in the tower and being our liaison to the foundries. We have to remember that most of the guns that the Guardian fires are designed and produced in the last city. Of course, we know that they're actually designed and produced here with the sandbox team.
What do you mean? Cassoid's in-house.
That's right, Mr. Cassoid, right here. So we will be working with Devrim to stress test the latest and greatest in gear from the foundries and the Guardians that can push their gear the furthest and get the most out of it will reap the greatest reward. So there's a competitive aspect to it as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about this competitive aspect, the Call to Arms is going to be a ton of rewards, legendaries, some cosmetics for anyone to earn, but then we have kind of some cosmetics at the top for our hardcore,
stream
so to
ends
speak,
in,
to really earn. Clayton, I think you were
DLC
talking about
launches in
helmet?
5 minutes,
Yeah,
so
we have
I
a
hope they
helmet
wrap this
ornament.
shit up soon.
It is fantastic looking. When you equip it, if you're in that top earner, you will have this like tail of flames coming from you, and much like the trial glows, these flames signify that you are a top competitor in this.
So when I load into the tower, I'm going to see this guy with a giant fiery mohawk. And
Yeah.
I'm going to know, okay, they were top of Call to Arms.
Impressed and scared at the same time.
But then we have some cosmetics, like I said, for just general players too. Like I believe there's an exotic ornament for the pulse rifle on the reward track, and a bunch of other things to earn too. So
we have daily login rewards as well, and we have vouchers that will actually help set you up for the next season.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thanks for the quick overview. We will definitely have more information in the tweet about this new event. And as we're going through Ash and Iron, we'll have an update before each of these events to give you a quick a recap of what we've been talking about today. So just to end it up as well, we have a brand new crossbow that's going to be coming in. So our first crossbow was introduced through raids. And this one is going to be through our events. To start, it's going to be a low drop chance from any of the events that we just covered. And then in Call to Arms, you can focus this thing to really hammer on getting those
That
rolls.
looks like an Iron
And Noah,
Banner
what's the
crossbow.
damage type on this?
Yeah, so you might have seen it in the gameplay. It's going to be a stasis
Iron
crossbow.
Banner. It looks like an
and
Iron Banner
obviously,
crossbow.
with a stasis weapon comes stasis
textures are
perks.
that,
And I'm
textures
very
are
happy
the
to
fried
say
in it,
that
though.
it does have choke clip, and it in fact does freeze in 2 shots. And oh my god, there's such like a fun play pattern of like you pop a guy twice with it, they freeze, and then if you have serrated bolts, you run up and you pull them out of him, and the serrated bolts do damage and cause him to pop. So you just like put him in a major, and you cause him to explode and hit all the dudes around him. And it was an oddly fun play pattern of just running around and blasting people that I got quite a few giggles out of in playtests.
I can't wait. So again, to say it, today with our New Territories event, you can get this to drop. It will be a low drop chance, but over the course of the rest of the season with each event, more chances, and then Call to Arms, you can focus it along with other gear and really go hard for the role you want.
And it has a holofoil
And a holofoil in Call to Arms as well.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of our show. So thank you all for joining us on the couch. Thank you all for joining us at home. We hope you enjoyed the Vidoc. The Renegades pre-orders are live now, and as we said at the top of the show, we have some new pre-order incentives that also apply to the Year of Prophecy folks that purchase that edition. A new legendary ship,
so
a
I
new
get that stuff as
legendary
soon as I load in.
emblem. And then, yeah, in 3 minutes here, we have Ashen Iron launching. So thanks for coming in. Hope you enjoy the rewards. We'll have more details on our quality of life updates over the next few weeks and a roadmap coming soon. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Can't thank you enough. And if you want to stick around, we're going to be handing off the stream to Mactix. Good friend. He's great at Destiny. Sometimes I do question his PvP prowess, but love the guy. So thanks for joining. Have a good day.